everybody. Welcome to the second video here for lesson number 7. This video really goes out to one individual student in my accelerated class that asked me a question about part B, and normally I have the answers to everything, but for this question I really had to think about it for a minute, and I didn't have an answer for him right away in class. I wanted to give this video for him so he wasn't confused. This might also help some of you that were asking the same question in class but maybe didn't have a chance to ask it or didn't want to ask it. So it all comes down to this part of question B. So one of the students in my accelerated class asked if 2i is really the square root of -4 unsimplified, why isn't this the square root of 100? Because it's not. And the reason why is one of these abstract radical rules that I obviously forgot and I had to kind of think about for a minute. And the rule is that the square root of any term times another term is equal to the square root of those two terms in separate radicals, like we've always done. For example, like if I had the square root of 6 times the square root of 3, I could easily say that's the square root of 18. That works. But what I was forgetting when I was asked this question today was there's a rule here for this, and that is that A and or B must be positive for the square root of A times B to be defined. So what that means is if you weren't able to go through, if they were both negative, you wouldn't be able to multiply them because then they wouldn't be able to be graphed over the values of the complex graph. So for example, if I have like the square root of -6 times the square root of 3, I could say, well, that is the square root of -18. That works. If I have the square root of 6 times the square root of -3, that's also the square root of -18. That works. But the square root of -6 times the square root of -3 does not equal the square root of 18. That does not work because it would be undefined for that function. Dominic, hopefully this answers your question from class. If anybody else watched this video and just kind of hopefully saw that that was also true, that helps too. All right. Hopefully this video helped you, Dominic, and anybody else who watched it. All right, and good luck with your homework.